Hey everyone, Del Bond here. We're another episode of Moving Out. Today I'm excited to have Jeff Wu on the call. How you doing, Jeff?
Doing great. Yeah, thank you. This is something I'm really looking forward to.
Jeff, how did you get started in real estate?
Thank you. I guess two seminal pieces for me in the real estate journey here. Number one, I'm a lifelong learner and I love a good book. I love learning and improving. And I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and phenomenal story. And he talks about the value of real estate and how it can be a wealth vehicle, whether it's one piece of real estate or many. And so I read that and I was like, I get it. I don't consider myself a rocket scientist, but I get it. Everybody needs a place to live. And so you're either paying rent to somebody else, or you can own your own home or multiple homes. And then you have an appreciable asset that could also be making money and have other financial benefits as well. So that was one thing. And then the other thing was, as I started my journey to own real estate, I had a strange experience and I said, let me get my license and let me help ourselves, my wife, my family, and let me help other people as well. And I just really love that real estate is connected to so many parts of people's life journey.
It's great. And anybody who hasn't read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that's a must read, obviously, right? And then the part about serving is great. I mean, Jeff and I belong to a network of real estate agents all across the country, and we all come from a place of serving first, right, Jeff?
Yes. Yeah. Doing business by referral, treating people the right way, the way you want to be treated or better. And then being a whole person, with service, with family, with personal, and all of those areas. Yeah, I'm really grateful for this network and those reminders of what really matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't you share the areas you cover? I know this is going to be interesting because we get three for the price of one.
Woohoo! Yeah. So I am licensed Virginia, Maryland, and Washington, D.C., what we call the DMV or the D.C. metro area.
Very cool. And you've been selling in those areas. I think you were telling me you served all those areas for quite some time.
Yes. Yeah. So since 2003, licensed in all three areas.
Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting for me because I know when I first met you, I knew you. I heard Virginia, and then when we got to know each other a little better, it's interesting. And then you look at a map, and it makes sense. I mean, they're all so congested in that one area.
Sometimes, when you meet somebody across the country, you say DC, and that stands out more to them versus Montgomery County, Maryland, or Arlington, Virginia, or something like that.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of doing this. Is why I like connecting with everyone, because I'm learning so much, about different areas of the country. And so we're glad to have you on board today. Jeff, what do you enjoy most about the job?
I kind of hinted at it. I love that real estate and the transaction is often interwoven into people's lives, whether they're, young professional buying their first home and, getting away from paying rent. It's very that meant so much to me when we bought our first home, part of the American dream, or when you're getting married and you buy your together home, or when you move up and you get more space for the dog and the kids, or on the flip side, the downsizing and your kids have launched, you have all those memories, but you need to right size. Vacation homes, investment homes, all different things, even unfortunately when someone has passed and the next generation needs to, move those assets. So there's almost always a tie to a life event. And I feel like the hats we wear are so varied, from being a trusted financial advisor in that space, because real estate is a real asset, to being a therapist or a friend. It's really cool how real estate is part of the fabric of people's lives. And that it just means a lot to me to be able to educate and help during often emotional and exciting times.
Yeah, great point. And our industry, right? It's often seen as a very transactional business. But as people can see, and people that are watching this, they know me. You're really just really trying to be a resource for people as they go through these different stages of life. You and I have been selling probably around the same time, right? So we've got clients that we've been serving for over 20 years, right? So some you take through all steps of those journeys, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's an honor to do that and to stay with them.
Yeah, exactly. No question. All right. So this whole moving out video series we started was because I think I shared with you, Jeff, people are leaving Massachusetts. We're not getting into why but it's just the reality of it. We have more people leaving than coming in. And you and I were chatting before we get on here and just looking at your market. And boy, it was amazing. The amount of people moving into DC versus the amount of people moving out. I think it was 60 something to 30 something percent. Why don't you tell us a little bit about why do you feel people moving there? I mean, we have data, we can look at demographics and stuff, but what I love about these calls is the agents are boots on the ground. Like like what's your gut telling you? Why are people moving there?
There's I think a lot of different reasons. It's really interesting. It surprises me, but you see people of all ages that are drawn to the culture and the character of our area. We have so much history. It is so rich, whether you're in DC or radiating out, whether it's landmarks or battlefields or parks or historic sites, even, the Potomac River, or, just to see people light up because they're here, they can go take lunch in front of the reflecting pool or the Lincoln Memorial, or they can walk by the White House. There is so much here. It's just really neat. And we have a very strong employment base, not only with the government, the military, but also because of those things, 3 international airports, lots of big businesses with their headquarters here, Amazon HQ2, Hilton, lots of different things happening, even Loudoun County having tons of data centers. The economic base is a big draw as well.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm glad you brought up the history part because I'm a history buff. And I always thought of that too. Like there's just to be that close to DC. I mean, I've only been down there a couple of times, but as you mentioned, I mean, there's just, so much to see and do down there. And obviously the jobs, right? So we always like to find out we know what's going on nationally with the mortgage rates, inventory's tight. It's the same story pretty much across the country, but every market's a little different. I'd like to hear a little bit about that. And then what do you anticipate? I think that's what people really want to know, right? What do you anticipate over the next several months, maybe?
That's a great question. So love this area, but what we're seeing is a really neat mix. I think since we're so close to policy and we have such a highly educated population, we see a lot of forward thinking, a lot of development, and we see, exciting new kind of mixed use areas popping up. We see senior living facilities popping up. We see people who want to stay in the area, but their lifestyle is adapting. So they're trying to figure out, do they need to move a city over or can they adapt their home? And it's just really fascinating, the mix between infill development as well as kind of older transitionary things happening. So a lot of forward thinking people. We have hot lanes on the Beltway. People can pay to go faster on the Beltway. We have an extra HOV lane on 66 now. So a lot of forward thinking, which we don't realize has taken many years to implement and now coming together. So I had a mentor who said, when you see cranes and construction, that's a good thing because there's improvements happening. So we have a number of areas where there's active improvement. So I'm happy to see that.
Yeah, Yeah, most definitely. So I mean, inventory's tight. I'm assuming prices are stable, if not still appreciating. And overall, where do you see things? I mean, let's just say, I mean, I'm really done talking about the rate thing. We've been talking about it for a year, right? Let's assume rates are going to stay right around where they are. Maybe we'll see in the 6.5s. But where do you anticipate your market over the next 6 to 12 months?
I think it's going to be steady. I think it's going to be steady and a steady, gradual appreciation. I was looking at some data recently, and I was looking. It was nationwide, but it was through the states, and it showed that past 4 years, I think Maryland was around 44% appreciation in 4 years, and Virginia was over 50%, and this whole DC metro area has had strong and solid appreciation over the past 4 years. And I see that continuing because, like you said, we don't have an abundance of housing. So all the good properties are going to continue to appreciate, both in terms of location and value, in terms of what's attractive to people. So I think regardless of what money costs, if people want to get in on it, they're going to benefit from real estate. I mean, I'm always blown away. My parents bought their house for 80 grand. And I helped them sell it for 600 plus. And when you're in the game, you benefit. If you are paying rent, 100% of that is interest. So you are not benefiting. And I think around here, the real estate is going to continue to appreciate.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because we're having we're having that conversation with our clients too, and everybody's so focused on the rates, they're not paying attention to the potential for appreciation and value of homes due to this supply and demand problem. So fix it on the rate, but man, these prices, and these rates coming down, it's not necessarily going to be a good thing, right? And we're going to see, I mean, the demand will increase, prices are going to increase.
Yeah, I think we all wish we bought more real estate in the 80s and 90s, and then it was over 10%. So what will we wish we'd done now in 10, 20, 30 years?
Yeah. I think people have a hard time with that, but that's good insight. I appreciate that. Tell us something about your area you think is great, but people may not know about, maybe not readily available online.
So I think some people might know, but some people might not, is really cool. Our area, kind of two things, is we have tremendous diversity. So it's one of, I feel, one of the only places where you can pick any kind of genre or any kind of flavor of food and say, let's meet at that restaurant. And a lot of places, a lot of people will say, okay, well, here you say, which one, whether it's the, Ethiopian, Thai, Korean, kosher, whatever you think of, there's an abundance of opportunities and the culture that goes along with that too. With the museums, we have free museums. You can go to the zoo and see the panda bears for free. And there's tons of other museums as well. So I think that's really cool. And then the other thing too, is people take for granted, but we have all 4 seasons. And very easily you can drive an hour and get to the mountains or go to the forests, go pick apples or whatever. Or you can drive, an hour or more and get to the shore and go to the beach. There's not a lot of places where you have all 4 seasons and you have that diversity of kind of geography as well. So I think the abundance of diversity and then also the 4 seasons are really cool for us.
That's great. And I think to your point, that's why a lot of people have a hard time. People are leaving the state of Massachusetts, but I think people have a hard time because we do, we have the 4 seasons. We're very close to the water. So that's actually great insight for our folks to know that they can get that same thing down there. Well, perfect, Jeff. I just want to thank you for sharing today. Really appreciate you taking the time. Clearly, you know your stuff. You can be a great resource in the area. And if anybody's interested in learning more about that DC area, you just want a good connection down there or have a family member or a friend moving down there, reach out to me. I'll connect you with Jeff. We'll have Jeff's information available as well. So, Jeff, I want to thank you again, my friend.
Thank you, Paul. This has been a lot of fun.